Yeah, we were saying that you were born in Indianapolis. What was life for you as a kid? Like, you have brothers, sisters?
I'm an only child.
You are?
Only child. So it was just me growing up, which I think taught me, you know, some valuable lessons in many different areas, but it's, I think helped me, you know, I think I can't really say the areas that it was a disadvantage because
you don't know what to compare.
But as far as being an advantage, I mean, I'm definitely okay with being by myself, which I think, you know, being on the road all the time, you do spend a lot of time by yourself. So that's, you know, taught me.
That's actually good, because I had a hard time.
Big lessons.
When I first got here, being by myself, I had a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you know, it's, because a lot of people, they kind of just develop like feelings of loneliness, whereas for me, it's like, you know, this is kind of what I was used to. I mean, I always had a lot of friends growing up and was surrounded by family and schoolmates and things like that. So it was never like, you know, oh, it was just me. Yeah. But, you know, I can totally entertain myself. You know, I can I think one of the biggest things is I can make friends with just about anyone that I meet or anywhere that I go. So even if I'm by myself, I have just a very outgoing personality where next thing you know, I'm chatting it up with the person next to me and we're, you know, making plans to meet up in a few weeks because we realized that we're both going to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's like, I think a pretty valuable quality.
Where do you think you get that? The outgoing personality?
I mean, my parents are both very outgoing, and I've always been...
No fear.
No fear, yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that have, there's a lot of people that I have interviewed for Chasing Glory that I didn't even know had such a fear of like speaking and such a fear of just they're introverted.
Yeah.
And don't feel good with other people and all. And one thing I've picked up immediately from you is how easy you are to speak to and how easy you're just like,
yeah.
So, but it's wild when you go back and you start realizing your parents and how you grew up and all. Did they spoil you like crazy because you were like, was it hard for them to get pregnant with you? Like, did they try to have other kids or anything?
You know, I think that the reason they only had me was because my dad was really busy when I was growing up. And so my mom had to do a lot of the parenting on her own, unfortunately. And so then when it came time to maybe have another kid, you know, my dad was like, oh, let's have it. My mom was like, I'm sorry, like you weren't even around as much as, you know, you probably should have been when Charlie was growing up. So I don't have the energy to go through that again. So totally understandable. You know, my mom is a saint and she did such a wonderful job. And my dad and I, you know, we have a different relationship. We're super close, not like my mom and I. But you know, my parents are divorced now too.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
When did they divorce?
They divorced divorce was finalized at the end of my sophomore year of college.
Was that tough?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, it was tough. Because I was old enough to know exactly what was going on, and I was aware of the situation, and no divorce is easy. Some divorces are more difficult than others. I would categorize this in the more difficult than others, just because of the circumstances surrounding it, but it was tough. So it's, you know, still something that I think affects me in ways that I don't even necessarily realize. You know, I was actually just this morning, I was watching a video that my friend posted online of her parents, like playing, I think they were playing, what's it called with the air hockey.
Oh, yeah.
And they were having so much fun. And I was like, I never have those memories of my parents, like just like having like tons of fun together. And, you know, not that I didn't, but it's not the things.
I get it.
When I look back on my, you know, growing up, those aren't the first things that come to mind. And I think that, you know, that affects me in a lot of ways where have kind of a skewed vision of what a relationship is and what it should be. So
yeah. When you were a kid and your dad wasn't there, how did that affect you?
I think back then I wasn't as aware. You know what I mean? It was more like I was just so used to doing most every, you know, my dad would come to things, you know, if I'd have games or whatever, but, you know, it was usually my mom, for example, taking me to practice or, you know, doing my homework with me post-practice or waking up with me early to study for a test. But it was just like the normal thing. Like it was just the role that my mom always filled.
Yeah.
So I don't think I realized it then, but now looking back, I do have some resentment towards, my dad for not being there probably as much as he should have, but there's not much you can do. And like my dad and I actually were in the process of trying to repair our relationship a little bit.
That's beautiful.
And it's not that like I said, we're not close. We are close, but it's just a very different relationship that I have with my mom. And I think not the relationship that as, his only daughter that I would want to have with him, but we are trying to take steps to get closer in more, in deeper ways, not just, on the surface. So.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat right now. Same boat.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, I never got to see my parents having a good time with each other at all. They were completely mismatched.
Yeah.
But it was so wild because even my sister and I were actually begging them when we were, I don't remember how old I was, but we were begging them, please just divorce. Because we were just so tired of the fighting. And that was the thing. Did they fight in front of you a lot?
Yeah. I would be around, whether it would be intentionally in front of me or, I would hear it from my room or whatever the case. But yeah, I mean, I heard a lot of fighting and, being that my mom and I were so close, usually my mom sometimes would come and like talk to me about things that were going on, which like, being that I didn't.
That's a lot when you're young.
Yeah, but it wasn't like she was trying to make me pick sides. It was almost like, my mom and I are like best friends and like sisters. And I think that it was, or maybe not even necessarily talking to me, but talking on the phone to her mom about it and I would overhear or.
Yeah.
But I do think, looking back, we were having the discussion about siblings. I think that is one area that I would have loved to have someone just as support for me because it is a lot when you're an only child and seeing this and you don't really have anyone to turn to. And I had my friends, but they didn't understand it because they weren't there.
They don't get it.
So it would have probably been nice to have someone. And even now just to be like, what do you think I should do? Or because you don't want to go to either one of your parents because then it's, they're divorced. So it's not like they necessarily care for the other in that way,
No, it's impossible to talk to them. And I get it because I have my sister.
Yeah.
And I always tell her, I don't know where I'd be without you because you get it. Like you get it. You understand. You went through it with me, so it's, that's why I feel it's so important too, to stay bonded as, brother, sister, 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 brother, brother, just siblings because you can help yourself through so much in this life.